At least a third of deaths worldwide are due to just 4 everyday products, according to public health expert Professor Anna Gilmore. These aren't exotic poisons or super weapons. They're things you probably use today. Together, they're responsible for 19 million deaths per year, a third of all global deaths. These products are engineered to be desirable, profitable, and sometimes addictive, all while quietly eroding our health. Tonight, we're counting down these 4 product categories from catastrophic to devastating. This is the 4 products behind a third of global deaths. Number 4 on our list, fossil fuels. These are the energy sources that have powered our world for over a century, shaping our economies and societies in profound ways. But this power comes at a steep cost, a cost that we are only beginning to fully understand. The same stuff powering your car and home, the very foundation of modern convenience. We rely on it for transportation, heating, electricity, and countless other aspects of our daily lives. It's so deeply ingrained in our routines that it's easy to overlook its darker side. It's also a silent killer, responsible for millions of deaths every year. The World Health Organization estimates that air pollution, largely driven by fossil fuels, contributes to millions of premature deaths annually. This isn't just an abstract statistic. It represents real people, families, and communities devastated by preventable illnesses. We're not talking about oil spills or mine collapses. Those are the headline-grabbing disasters that capture our attention briefly. But the invisible particles you breathe daily, these microscopic pollutants released from burning fossil fuels, penetrate deep into our lungs and bloodstream, wreaking havoc on our health. They are the insidious agents of disease, silently undermining our well-being with every breath we take. These pollutants cause heart attacks, strokes, increasing the risk of cardiovascular disease, and significantly impacting quality of life. The strain on our healthcare systems is immense, as hospitals grapple with the influx of patients suffering from pollution-related ailments. Asthma and lung cancer, a grim reality for millions, especially children and the elderly, who are particularly vulnerable to the harmful effects of air pollution. The long-term consequences are devastating, leading to chronic respiratory problems and a diminished lifespan, damaging your health with every breath. It's a constant assault on our bodies, a silent epidemic that erodes our vitality and shortens our lives. The companies behind this have known the risks for decades. Internal documents and scientific studies have revealed their awareness of the dangers posed by their products, yet have spent billions to block regulations and sow doubt. They have actively worked to undermine climate science, fund misinformation campaigns, and lobby against policies that would protect public health. The official death toll is likely underestimated because it's difficult to directly attribute every death to air pollution, not even counting deaths from climate change. The indirect consequences of fossil fuel emissions are far-reaching and devastating. Heat waves, floods, and disease. These climate-related disasters exacerbate existing health problems and create new ones, further straining our healthcare systems and disproportionately impacting vulnerable populations. Fossil fuels are a health crisis, not just an environmental one. It's a public health emergency that demands immediate and decisive action. The industry externalizes costs. They reap the financial rewards while shifting the burden of pollution and health impacts onto society as a whole. Their profits, your healthcare bills, and shortened lifespan. It's a system where corporate greed trumps public well-being, where the pursuit of profit comes at the expense of human lives. The poorest communities, often communities of color, suffer the most. They are disproportionately exposed to pollution and its associated health risks. Living closest to pollution sources. This environmental injustice is a stark reminder of the systemic inequalities that plague our society. No one's death certificate says, died from breathing city air. It's a more subtle and insidious cause of death, often masked by other contributing factors. But the link is clear. Decades of scientific research have established a strong and undeniable connection between air pollution and a wide range of health problems. The industry's response? Double down. They continue to invest in fossil fuel infrastructure and resist efforts to transition to cleaner energy sources. More oil, more pipelines, more pollution. It's a self-destructive cycle that perpetuates the health crisis and exacerbates climate change. They push individual responsibility. Buy an electric car, shifting the blame onto consumers while deflecting attention from their own culpability, while ignoring their own role, their systemic role in creating and maintaining a fossil fuel-dependent society, in building a fossil fuel-dependent world. A world where our health and well-being are sacrificed for the sake of corporate profits. The science is settled. There is no longer any doubt about the harmful effects of fossil fuels on our health and the environment. We know the cause, the culprits, and the solutions. Renewable energy technologies are readily available and becoming increasingly affordable. Yet, political will is blocked. Progress is stalled by powerful vested interests, by the immense power of the fossil fuel lobby. Their influence permeates our political system, shaping policies and hindering efforts to address the climate crisis and protect public health. Millions die prematurely every year because of the air we breathe. This is a preventable tragedy, a needless loss of life that demands our immediate attention. This is the baseline of our disaster countdown, the starting point from which we measure the escalating threat to our planet and our health. A product that destabilizes the planet and shortens lives. It's a legacy of destruction that we are leaving for future generations. Fossil fuels. Number 4, a major contributor to our impending doom, and it only gets deadlier from here. The threats to our planet and our health are only going to intensify if we fail to take decisive action. Take a breath, maybe a shallow one, depending on where you live. Consider the air you're breathing and the price you're paying for it. The air we breathe is the price of corporate profit. It's a tragic trade-off that we can no longer afford to make. Stick around to see what's even deadlier. The countdown continues, and the stakes are higher than ever. Number 3, food. It's a fundamental need, a source of nourishment, and a cultural cornerstone. But what happens when the very thing that sustains us becomes a source of harm? Not just any food, the ultra-processed, the kind that dominates our modern diets. We're talking about the stuff that lines the shelves of every supermarket, beckoning with bright colors and enticing promises. Salt-laden, sugar-packed products, designed to trigger our cravings and keep us coming back for more. These aren't your grandmother's home-cooked meals. They're engineered concoctions, filling our supermarkets, and consequently, filling our bodies with substances that do more harm than good. The sheer volume of these products is staggering. Unhealthy diets cause over 3 million deaths each year, a staggering statistic that underscores the severity of the problem. This isn't just a matter of personal choice, it's a public health crisis, more than fossil fuels. Think about that for a moment. The food we eat is a greater threat to our lives than the pollution choking our planet. The contents of your shopping cart, that seemingly innocuous collection of groceries, can be more dangerous than the air you breathe. It's a sobering thought, isn't it? The very act of feeding ourselves is potentially poisoning us. Excessive salt, sugar, those ubiquitous ingredients that seem to be in everything we eat, and processed meats, the staples of many modern diets, drive heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. These are not just abstract risks, they are real and present dangers to our health and well-being. These foods are engineered to be irresistible, meticulously crafted in laboratories to maximize their addictive potential, hijacking your brain's reward centers, turning you into a Pavlovian dog, salivating at the mere sight of a brightly colored package. The industry isn't just selling food, they're not simply providing sustenance, they're selling cravings, exploiting our innate desires for salt, sugar, and fat, exploiting our biology for profit, turning our bodies into battlegrounds for their bottom lines. Billions are spent on advertising, bombarding us with messages designed to override our better judgment. Often targeting children and the most vulnerable, preying on their developing tastes and impressionable minds. Healthy food is often less accessible and more expensive, creating a disparity that disproportionately affects low-income communities. Making unhealthy choices the default for many, trapping them in a cycle of poor nutrition and ill health. Portion sizes have ballooned, reflecting a culture of excess and overconsumption. And value means more sugar and calories, a deceptive equation that prioritizes quantity over quality than your body can handle. We're overloading our systems with empty calories and harmful additives. We're overfed but undernourished, a paradox of modern eating habits. Drowning in calories but starving for nutrition. Our bodies are crying out for the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients they need to thrive. Corporations fight regulation, fiercely protecting their profits at the expense of public health. Fund misleading research, sowing seeds of doubt and confusion about the true impact of their products. And blame consumers for poor health, shifting responsibility away from their own harmful practices. The playbook: sell harm, deny harm, blame the victim, profit. It's a cynical and destructive cycle. Marketing buzzwords like low-fat or all-natural are designed to distract from the real dangers, masking the high levels of sugar, salt, and processed ingredients lurking beneath the surface. Eating has become a high-stakes gamble, a game of chance with potentially devastating consequences. With our health, we're betting against the odds every time we reach for a processed snack or a sugary drink. Food is our number 3 killer, a grim reality that demands our attention. Not the apple, the symbol of health and vitality, but the apple-flavored, sugar-coated cereal puff, a processed imposter masquerading as a nutritious breakfast. It's a tragedy served up daily, a constant assault on our bodies and our well-being. And we're all encouraged to ask for seconds. We need to change the narrative, challenge the status quo, and reclaim our right to healthy, nourishing food. Number 2, alcohol. The social lubricant, the party starter, and the cause of 2.44 million deaths every year. Alcohol's lethality is uniquely chaotic. It causes long-term diseases and fuels accidents, violence, and self-harm. It's a psychoactive, addictive drug, one of the most dangerous when you count harm to users and others. The industry spends billions making alcohol seem glamorous and harmless, sponsoring sports and music and pushing drink responsibly. That phrase shifts blame to the consumer, ignoring the addictive nature of the product. Most alcohol sales come from heavy users. Their best customers are the ones most at risk. The social cost is immense healthcare, lost productivity, and criminal justice expenses. We've normalized a product that fuels misery because it's woven into our rituals. Marketing is relentless, targeting younger drinkers and making every occasion an opportunity to sell. We worry about opioids, but alcohol causes more deaths and is sold everywhere. Alcohol is a depressant, worsening mental health and trapping people in a vicious cycle. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. So, while we toast and celebrate, remember alcohol is a carcinogenic, addictive neurotoxin. Alcohol, our number 2 killer, a party with a tragic end for millions. We've examined numerous products that pose significant risks to public health, but now we arrive at the undisputed champion of death among commercial goods. It's tobacco, a product that has been intertwined with human society for centuries, yet its devastating impact on health is undeniable. Tobacco kills 8 million people per year, a staggering figure that underscores the immense harm caused by this legal product. That's 16% of all deaths worldwide, a truly shocking statistic that highlights the global reach of tobacco-related mortality. 1 out of every 6 deaths on Earth is caused by this single product. Think about that for a moment, the sheer scale of loss directly attributable to tobacco use. It's more lethal than alcohol, a substance that itself contributes to a significant number of deaths annually. It surpasses the combined impact of unhealthy food, with its links to obesity, diabetes, and heart disease, and even the deadly effects of fossil fuel pollution combined. The air we breathe, poisoned by industrial emissions, pales in comparison to the direct harm inflicted by tobacco. The cigarette's genius, if you can call it that, is its addictiveness, a carefully cultivated property that keeps users coming back for more. It's engineered to hook users for life, turning them into repeat customers dependent on their nicotine fix. The tobacco industry spent decades making their product as addictive as possible, manipulating nicotine levels to maximize dependency and ensure long-term profits. For a lifelong smoker, the risk of premature death is 1 in 2, a terrifying statistic that highlights the deadly consequences of prolonged tobacco use. It's a coin flip, a 50-50 chance that smoking will cut your life short. Imagine any other product with those odds, a car, a food item, anything else you might buy. No one would buy it. It would be immediately pulled from the shelves, deemed too dangerous for consumption. Yet tobacco has been the status quo for a century, a deeply ingrained part of our culture, despite its devastating health consequences. The health consequences are staggering, a burden on individuals, families, and healthcare systems worldwide. Lung cancer, heart disease, the 2 most prominent killers linked to smoking, strokes, emphysema, and a host of other debilitating conditions. Cigarettes damage nearly every organ in the body. From your brain to your toes, smoking takes a toll. The industry knew the risks, lied about them, actively concealing the truth from the public for decades. They funded junk science, manipulated research findings, and fought regulation at every turn, protecting their profits at the expense of human lives. They made smoking look cool, glamorous, and sophisticated, targeting vulnerable populations with their deceptive marketing. They used movie stars, doctors, even Santa Claus to promote their deadly product, and even cartoon characters like Joe Camel to appeal to children and teenagers. When smoking rates dropped in the West, thanks to increased awareness and public health campaigns, they targeted low- and middle-income countries, exploiting weaker regulations and vulnerable populations. Even now, they innovate, constantly developing new products to maintain their market share and attract new users. E-cigarettes and vaping hook a new generation, promising a safer alternative while delivering addictive nicotine. With fruity flavors and sleek devices, they are particularly appealing to young people, creating a new wave of nicotine addiction. The cost to society, both economic and social, is immense. Hundreds of billions in healthcare and lost productivity, a drain on resources that could be used for other vital services. Not to mention the human toll, the suffering of individuals and families affected by tobacco-related diseases. Tobacco is the gold standard of corporate malfeasance, a prime example of how greed and profit can be prioritized over human health and well-being. A product with no safe level of consumption. Even occasional smoking carries significant health risks. But there's hope. We've seen progress in the fight against tobacco. Public pressure, regulation, and education have worked, raising awareness and changing attitudes towards smoking. Smoking rates are dropping in many countries, a testament to the effectiveness of these interventions. These 4 products, tobacco, alcohol, food, and fossil fuels, represent a significant threat to global health and environmental sustainability. Tobacco, alcohol, food, and fossil fuels, each with its own unique set of risks and consequences, are all part of the same story, a story of corporate influence and the pursuit of profit at any cost. Profit prioritized over public health, leading to widespread harm and preventable deaths. It's a story of powerful industries and slow government response, a battle between corporate interests and the well-being of the population. But change is possible, and by understanding the forces at play, we can work towards a healthier and more sustainable future. So, there you have it. 4 products responsible for a third of all deaths worldwide. 19 million people a year, lost to commercial choices, not fate. These deaths are preventable, driven by products designed and sold for profit. The first step to change is seeing how these industries operate and manipulate us. Recognizing the game is the first step to not playing it. We need to demand more from corporations and governments.